Video series we found from a couple of the 1-point perspective videos. Just can't post big ones, so we're going to have to kind of divide things up into smaller videos. So what we've got now is the setup for our famous portrait drawing. Okay, a famous person. We'll do a portrait here. So you should have a printout. You sent them to me. That was part of assignment. Turned them in. Okay, so step one. I know that your piece of paper, I know this is 8.5 by 11. Okay, I know that. That's not what you to tell me. What I want you to do is I want you to measure the height and the width of your actual picture on your paper. You know, the outside rectangle or square. It's got to be one of those two shapes. Okay, so we're going to do that right now. Now, let's say, see how mine is right here, 5.5. You know, if, like, say this was 3 notches past 5 and not 4, we just call it 5 1/4. You don't have to try to figure that out. So just round it. We're going to end up changing the sizes on these a little bit. So, but I'll just go ahead and round it to whatever measurement it's close to. Okay, so mine is 7 1/4 by 5 3/4. Odds are you guys probably have a measurement like mine that has a fraction in it. What we want to do is we want to cut this picture down, essentially crop it, and most of you guys have a crop tool on all of your photo editing stuff on your phones, iPads, on Microsoft Word, on Google Docs. They all have this. This is just the old school way of cropping it. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get rid of these fractions. That's just going to kind of wreak havoc on our proportions later on. So if this is 7 1/4 tall, you know, I've got a lot of just neck and shirt down here that I don't need. I can get rid of. That's just a lot of extra shading that I really don't need in my drawing. Okay, so we're just going to kind of include the face. So I'm going to measure from the top of my picture. I'm going to go down. You know, if I really wanted to, I could cut this off at 6 and just have the face. If I wanted a little bit more neck and shirt, I could cut this off at 7. Okay, so let's just cut this guy off at 6. We're going to go a little bit shorter. Okay, so what I did is I measured from the top 2 times, kind of left side, right side, measure down 6 inches. Now I'm going to take that, I'm going to draw connected dots, draw a line. So now, this part, cut it off, gone, doesn't exist. So now instead of being 7 1/4 inches tall, now it's 6 inches tall. So we got, not only did we get rid of a fraction, but we just got rid of the sum of the entire measurement. Okay, 5 3/4, pretty close to it. You know, we don't want any fractions. So my suggestion to you is I would probably cut this guy off at 5. You know, yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of corner of your hair, but I really don't think that's a big issue. You know, we're getting the entire face. You're not taking an ear off or anything like that. So now that doesn't exist. So now I have a photograph that's 5 inches wide by 6 inches tall. The method that we're going to use to create this picture, this is called a grid transfer method. Okay, and this is the way to do this, to recreate this, literally recreate any size we want and keep it, that magic word, proportioned. Okay, essentially what we're going to have to do is create a grid, and we're going to draw this right over the top of your graph here. Yes, it's okay to draw over the top of it. I'm using an ink pen, so my lines show up a little better for the video. I would use pencil if I were you guys. Okay, so essentially what I'm going to do is we're going to create what they call a 1-inch grid. A 1-inch grid is making a line every inch. Okay, so I'm going to start with my left to right. You guys know me, I measure twice, draw once. So I'm going to go over here to the top, measuring left to right. I think it's 5 inches wide, so every inch, I'm just going to make a little notch. And then I'll scroll it down, and I like to do that from the bottom also. Now, if you've cut some of your drawing off like I did on this side, you know, start from that line. You know, don't include the stuff you've cut off. Down here's the same way. Every inch. Let's play the game, connect the dots. So that was every inch going left to right. Now I've got to do the same thing. Oops. following my drawing around here. I gotta slide down to get my ruler to fit on. Now I'm gonna do that from either the top or bottom, whichever way you want to start. So inch every this way. Mark every inch. So we're going to have left to right and up and down. We're making a grid. All these squares on your grid should be an inch by inch. I think I got that one a little off. Sorry about that. That's why you guys are using pencil and not pen. Okay. So if I'm 5 inches wide, I should have 5 rows. And I will number them because that will come in handy later. It's going to keep you from going crazy keeping track of this stuff. Okay, well, I'm 6 tall. So I should have 6 going down. Okay, so part 1 is essentially getting everything to a nice whole number, getting rid of all fractions. Okay, once we do that, drawing a line every inch. You know, I really do suggest you measure top, measure bottom, connect the dots. That's really going to make sure lines. Guys, when you draw with rulers, you press so hard that you move your ruler as you draw. Okay, so that's a good way to keep that straight. All right, part 1. Part 2 will be the transfer.